Alright. So, in today's reportage, we're gonna tackle the only one time when Jordan P. Peterson and Andrew Tate agreed. Why this is important for me to present and for you to listen to, because they actually tackled the most important question during our existence, which is what is the meaning of life? This kind of question that is too philosophical, abstract, and way out of our reach as a general population or even as intellectual requires a certain way to deal with it. For example, we shall try to simplify it by making it more practical. And for men to know what is the meaning of a certain human being is, especially a man, you can ask him, what do you do for a living? Because from that question, the answer you get allows you somehow to infer why this guy is doing or acting the way he acts. Oh, this is his meaning of life for that precise individual. But we will never be able to generalize it. But at least you know it for one person. But you'll not be able to give an advice to another human being from whatever your conclusion is. And that's a bit problematic. And today, we want to tackle that. So let's say we have two examples about what do you do for a living. Some guy decided to dedicate 10 years of his life to plan, to execute, just to be ready for a certain position in society. For example, becoming a physician, a doctor. That requires 10 years of schooling. So what he did is that he actually did plan these years. He knew what he had to do and he did it. And he actually got the job. He's now a physician. On the other hand, we have this dude who did not plan any job or any sort of career. He was a feather in the wind and he doesn't really mind it. But he also got a job. So job I did intend, job I did not intend. Interestingly enough, on a long enough time frame, both of them end up being miserable, which is actually interesting because this guy intended what he had and this guy didn't. How come both end up being miserable? Not only that, on another example, you can get a job or don't even get a job. So it is not a matter of want or planned or not, and also end up with the same miserable, confused reaction. These two memes are actually, I've seen like a couple of weeks ago and they were already viral. So they do resonate with a lot of people. And for me, they did raise a couple of questions that I'm gonna tackle today with you. And at the very end, we're gonna see how it all fits the big picture with Jordan P. Peterson and Andrew Tate. So, shall we begin? But in order for me to do that, there's some experiment that we need to do. And this experiment is, we're gonna ask some people how much they are making and what is the quality of their life. So, how much you're making, this represents your job. And your quality of life, let's say, simplified to only happiness. So now this is our experiment now. So we're gonna ask 30 people, 30 human beings. Hey man, how you doing? I'm doing fine. What do you do for a living? Oh, how much you're earning? Oh, I'm earning just the minimum wage and I'm just paying the bill. So I'm not really happy. It's alright. The thing is, when we do such an experiment properly with a random sample of at least 30 individuals, the results get really random. Somehow you get never to predict it. So this guy is making that much money and he's so happy. This guy is making the same money, but listen, he's just right here. Almost the same money, even more, but he's less in a happiness or quality of life scale. And the data doesn't stop, it actually keeps on being as random. So what we do with that, what we do with this sort of data, we cannot interpret such, too many cases. What we do is we draw a regression line, and outside of the academic jargon, a regression line is simply a line that is in the middle between all the data points. Just like that. Bingo. So what does this line tells us now is that the more of the input, the more of the money that you have, the more quality of life. Until this point where it simply makes no difference whatsoever, or at least minimum, and then nothing. And this point is actually calculated. This point, 60,000 US dollar per year. If you make 60,000 US dollar per year, additional income will make either minimal or zero impact on your quality of life. So this is also strange. How come? How come if it is 60,000 or 6 million, that change is minimal? So we be like, okay, so let's get those people who are above this threshold, and let's ask them another question. We're not going to change anything in the data points, as random as it is. Also, we suffer from apophenia as humans, but that's for another video. And it's the same experiment, guys. I'm not going to change anything. Just going to ask them another question. So this is the money. All of them are above 60,000. So all of them are all above the threshold. And we're considering the quality of their life. And okay, they are less than 30, so we cannot really draw a regression line. What we're gonna ask them is, okay, does your whatever you're doing for a job, does it fit your purpose? Does it make you challenged? Does it push you to the limit? Is it some sort of a battle that you want to undertake? Or is it some sort of passive income, automation by the side? This nonsense. Nonsense, not as if it doesn't happen, but nonsense as is, well, look at the data. They're not any happy. The quality of life is just the same. So we ask each one of these this question. Is what you're doing consistent with your purpose? Does it push you to the limit? This guy instantly just raise their hand and be like, yes, it does. I'm so happy that I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. That is good. This guy also say yes. So that is also interesting. But this guy who's making as much money as that guy, same money. He said, no, it is not consistent with anything of what I'm doing. I'm just simply a real estate agent and I take commission and I have a lot of money in the bank. So then we ask that guy, does it fit your higher goal? He also says yes. So now we have an interesting observation now. If we try to draw the regression line with this minimum sample, it's gonna look something like this, which somehow imitates what we had earlier. Just above the threshold, the more income you get, if it does fit or is it consistent with your purpose, it does increase your quality of life, but not for the cash metrics, because of the fact that it's consistent. Are you pushing more into it? And the paradox start is in here point, ladies and gentlemen. Here the fun begins. The more money you're making out of that which that does not fit your purpose decreases your quality of life. That's a paradox, and not a paradox that I made. it's documented paradox in statistics called Simpson paradox. When we take a certain group, for example, those making above 30,000, and then we ask them another question to subgroup the subgroup. Does it fit your purpose? Yes. Does it? Yes. Does it? Yes. Does it? No, no, no. Okay. Now let's look at this no, no, no. Oh, their quality of life decreases. Strange. Okay, what about those who have it consistent, their job consistent with what they do, or their purposes? Oh, this actually increases. And this paradox is the Simpson paradox. And this is really interesting. So what we would understand now is that it is not about how much money you're making, because at certain level it just stops. It's about whether what you're doing fits a model in which you are pursuing a purpose or not. Because if yes, well, look at that. More to you, my friend. And if not, you shall be condemned. And here, Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate actually does answer it well. Here's a clip from Jordan Peterson that I find more than helpful.
Them, and you want a job that's challenging, I would say, that pushes you beyond what you already are. And God only knows how hard you need to be pushed in order to go beyond where you are. But to some degree, if you have a choice, it's not that uncommon that what we'll do is choose to be pushed to the limit, especially when we're at our best. We think, wow, where's the limit? It's here. Maybe I can manage that. I'm going to push myself right to the damn limit. And then I'm going to push myself a little bit over just to see if it's possible. And if that happens, then, you emerge with a sense of triumph. I'm now more than I was, right? And maybe that's what you're here to be, is to be more than you were, right? To push those limits. And to do that,
to triumph, to be more than that which you are. Because at this level, what I understand is that the goal is not something to accomplish. The goal is someone to become. So as we have seen in the data, the experiment we have done, if what you're doing does fit a higher goal, more to you. But if it doesn't, you're condemned, even though you're already at the threshold of quality of life. But inside this group, you can be better as an individual. And here, Andrew Tate actually provide a practical example from his fighting career.
That if I'm not doing something which is either extremely difficult or extremely stressful, I'm in a perpetual state of crippling boredom. I can't explain it. I see other people live their lives and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend because I want to watch this movie. I think, who cares about a movie? You're looking forward to the weekend for a movie? Looking forward to the weekend to get drunk? Like, these things to me are so mundane. They mean nothing. And if I don't fight, if I'm not in a situation where I'm stressed or worried or concerned, I'm just perpetually bored. And boredom's crippling. If you're an intelligent person and you've got a good brain on your shoulders, you can't just sit there bored, So most smart people take the academic route to avoid boredom, and they learn, but that's never really interested me either. Although I've always been an intelligent guy and I've always done well academically, it never really interested me.
So, it never really did interest him because he had to choose what is it that pushes him to the limit. Because whatever it is that pushes you to the limit will give you some meaning. And there's this, I wouldn't say cliche of a quote, but it is good enough, which is, the meaning of life is to give life meaning. And, that is not as simple. But from what we know is that it is not money related. Because above certain level, as I've demonstrated, it doesn't matter anymore. It only matters if you are doing something that pushes you to the limit. So, from this reportage, well, I would like to suggest that you keep your head above the water, pay the bill, have the food, but also you have to live dangerously. You need to pick something that pushes you to the limit. It can be recording a video at 6 a.m. when you didn't sleep. This is my case. And you just have to push forcefully through it. Because at the end, we shall have a story. And we shall never fall under the Simpson paradox that I have demonstrated. So, thank you.